We have a massive Minnesota Vikings trade update as a recent report has revealed the master plan behind this Vikings team and what the plan is with Sam Darnold going towards free agency. We're going to be talking about all of this as well as the very sneaky trade idea that has been proposed here in this article. Before we get into all of this news here right now, though, we notice that 91% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel, and we are nearly at 1,000 subscribers. And if everybody who's watching this video right now were not subscribed to the channel, hit that sub button. We will get there before the free agency deadline for the Minnesota Vikings. So be sure to do so if you want all of your Minnesota Vikings news. But without any further ado, let's get straight into this video because this is a very interesting trade idea from the Minnesota Vikings involving Sam Darnold. Now, we're probably all wondering, how is it going to be possible? Obviously, Sam Darnold's heading towards free agency. We may see him re-signed. How is he going to be traded? And that's exactly what many people are definitely thinking. But with this article, I'm bringing up the idea that according to ESPN's Kevin Seifert, the Vikings insider, the Vikings likely aren't going to be looking to retain Sam Darnold via the usage of the franchise tag. However, they could be waiting to see if the trade market plays out for their Pro Bowl quarterback. And heading into this is what Kevin Seifert had to say here, the whole idea of it. He says, my understanding is that right now, as far as the franchise tag is concerned, the Vikings are going to sit tight. There's no real incentive to tag Sam Darnold at the start of the window. It will be open till March 4th. It doesn't mean they've ruled it out at all. It also means they won't want to eventually sign him to a multi-year deal. But the key here will be whether the Vikings become aware of a potential trade market for Darnold. If there is, they can execute what's known as the tag and trade. In this scenario, Sam Darnold walks out of the building, but this time for draft pick compensation. And now, the draft pick compensation should be the major part that perked up every Vikings fan's ears right here, because as we know, the Vikings do not have a lot of picks. Heading into this, I believe we have the least in the NFL, or tied for the least. Something along the lines of that. And the way the Vikings team is right now, they have a lot of free agents. They need a lot of players they need to sign. A lot of players they're going to have to go out and sign. And also a lot of positions that need to be filled. And the draft will be a perfect spot to do this, especially as it heads to the secondary, some earlier parts of the defense, as well as the offensive line. The Vikings will not be able to go and fix everything here in free agency. And with the limited picks that they have, it would have been a tough idea. But especially if Sam Darnold gets traded, for instance, the picks the Vikings would get would certainly be much, much better than what is initially thought. So let's move on to another big piece of this, kind of going further and deeper into this idea of potentially doing a tag and trade for Sam Darnold. With so many teams desperate to upgrade at their quarterback position, the Vikings shouldn't have trouble finding a trade partner. The question is whether it becomes whether it would be more worth it for the Minnesota Vikings to trade Darnold now or wait and recoup the potential compensatory draft pick compensation in 2026. So the market is going to be there. We know that, and it's going to be a question whether the Vikings will get the better picks now, whether they get compensatory picks, or whether they get just a full-on trade. Whether or not teams are going to be looking to get in there early, get in their quarterback early, work in the draft, work in free agency around potential Sam Darnold deal, because we've known that Sam Darnold has been likely to hit the free agent market, but not ruling out the Vikings as an opportunity. We've seen Kevin O'Connell come out and say that Sam Darnold has deserved the opportunity to hit free agency, especially after a 14-3 season with the Minnesota Vikings last season. He's really shown everybody that, I can be this number one quarterback that I was supposed to be out of the draft. You're putting me in the right spot, giving me an opportunity, I can be that. And that's one thing Sam Darnold really hasn't had until this year, is an opportunity. So being able to now prove to teams that he can make that money, you got to give him the chance. And that's just part of the business, part of the structure, because we know that the Vikings are also going to be looking to move on and get to J.J. McCarthy, but also keeping the team around him ready for whoever it may be in the backfield. And as we kind of look at Sam Darnold's market value, $40 million is the franchise tag. And when we're looking at $40 million as also, his market value and everything there, that's a lot of money for the Vikings to pay. A 4 years, $160 million market value, an average salary of just over $40 million. That is a very, very heavy contract to justify giving out and justify being able to, put it out there that the Vikings need to use that money wisely. Now, they can't go forward to have that $40 million go to a quarterback. They have to kind of use it smart, but they can also play it around that if they manage and they want to get Sam Darnold under contract, they can do that. So this is not as easy as, signing the franchise tag and then ultimately going from there. They had to work some things out around it, and some moves would have to be made prior and after to be able to solidify this team to be able to be that, supposed superpower that we've been. And, Sam Darnold certainly being a big part of this is important. We saw what Kevin O'Connell had to say in the head coach, our coach of the year award, that Sam Darnold's been a big part of this and will be a big part of their future, whatever he meant by that. Could he be spoiling something? We don't really know. But there are many possibilities with the Vikings, whether it's going to be Sam Darnold, whether it's going to be Daniel Jones, whether it's J.J. McCarthy, whether it's another quarterback coming in via trade or via free agency. But when we're looking at $40 million for Sam Darnold, that's a lot of money. So they have to be smart. That's really what we need to kind of keep in mind. We got to really put this to the test. The Vikings have to be smart with what they want to do. They have to, lock in what they want to do before it gets too late during the season. So first of all, let me know what you think about all of this kind of possibility of a tag and trade, getting away Sam Darnold. What kind of picks do you think we're going to get? Obviously, this is all, an idea right now from Kevin Seifert, and it does seem like that's what the plan is, to kind of sit on the franchise tag, whether that is going to be because there's going to be an extension coming, and, there's been mixed opinions on that. Me and Griffin have really put this out there that, the future seems to be J.J. McCarthy. You go draft him for a reason. You sign Justin Jefferson to this contract for that reason. And $40 million is a big chunk of the 61 the Vikings have in this offseason available. So we got to keep that in mind, because there's going to be a lot of other moves that need to be made, and especially one that, we spoke about yesterday, Byron Murphy Jr., whether or not they move on from him, his expected market value, I believe, is just under $20 million, which is, of course, a lot of money as well. And that takes away pretty much everything on the table if those two are the ones that you keep. But there still is a lot of other ideas that have to come out of this as well. And when you're looking at the comparable contracts to what Sam Darnold is predicted to make, it's putting you in the realm of a Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins. When we look at this, Baker Mayfield, he's been one that, kind of the same situation as Sam Darnold. He's been due for an elite opportunity, and he's been getting that with the Bucs. And around that value, we could say it's worth it. But then when you go down, Jimmy Garoppolo, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, three of those guys, I would argue not worth their contracts. And, Jimmy Garoppolo being a backup right now, Kirk Cousins not playing great, got swapped out for Michael Penix near the end of the season, and Geno Smith, personally, I just don't think Geno Smith is a good quarterback, and obviously, I don't think he gets along well with any players on his team, but that's going to be up for debate. But when you're looking at a market value of over all of those guys on that average salary, it certainly is an interesting idea when you're putting that into perspective with Sam Darnold, and how all of these guys really had some great seasons, signed to a big contract, and then really went back to, in Geno Smith's case, back to what he was before, and ultimately putting the Seahawks in a pretty tough position. So there are a lot of opportunities where we got no idea what has to happen. But one thing I wanted to pull up as well, since the idea of this tag and trade for the compensatory picks. Yet, since the compensatory picks formula caps out with a maximum of a third-round selection, the Vikings already have a strong idea of which bar needs to be cleared. In other words, teams would likely have to offer more than a third-round pick to secure Darnold via trade. So the question is out there, will the Vikings really put Darnold on the trade block, really see if any teams want him, and then get over that extension? I think that's a smart idea to do, although it would put you at the risk of, getting the tag. Nobody wants him. So there are many possibilities with here. But I do want the Vikings to get this figured out very soon. So let me know what you would think. Certainly some interesting stuff to go over here. And we're going to be talking about this as well as the free agency approaches and as we get towards the draft and everything. And that's when we start to see some of these big things go down. So let me know what you think about it here, and what do you want to see? This is a very big topic or conversation for Vikings fans right now, but that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button. Just remember, we're on the road to 1K. We're very, very close, and if we could hit that, this offseason. Obviously, it's a very large amount of time, but as soon as possible, I guess we could say that would be incredible. But I do appreciate all of you guys watching. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.